Alright, hello, I'm back again. So in this video I wanted to talk just a little bit more about the French curves, but not just the French curves. I want to go into talking about angles a little bit, because last time I talked about how it's a lot easier to make your things line up if you have right angles. So remember, we were doing this with our French curve. Let's say this is the center front here, and this is the shoulder, and let's say we needed to make an armhole down here, armhole here, and a neckline here. I was saying it would be easier if you took your square ruler and square it down here and square it across there, and then used your French curve to fill in the gap here. The same thing here, square here and square there, and then use your French curve to fill in the gap. Now, what if you have something that doesn't join at a right angle? And the reason I say that is because when you're going up here and you're joining something else, you want this line to be flush, which is why it's a lot easier if you start out with right angles. But there are situations where you're going to have to join pieces that are not going to come together at right angles. How do you fix this problem? Well, what you do is, overall, you just remember this rule. 90 degrees, which is what a right angle is, times 2 is 180 degrees. And that's that straight line that you're looking for, that I was saying that you want to do. It's a lot easier to just be able to use your square and come up with two right angles. But if you don't have that and you're trying to figure out how to join two edges, if you just make sure you have a straight line, then it'll be a lot easier to join those two edges. And this is what I mean. So let's say this is one pattern piece, this is another pattern piece. As long as the two pattern pieces intersect and create a straight line, then you'll be okay. So these are both angles. You got two angles here, so this is like your obtuse angle. So this one is more than 90 degrees, of course, we know that. And then this one is going to actually be less than 90 degrees. And this isn't, detailed math or anything, so I don't know if that would work. It would probably be better if I did, let's see, 90 degrees, we'll say whatever is less than 90 degrees. And this would be more than 90 degrees. Yeah. So, but in the end, as long as both of these equal out to 180, you have your line here. So, let me show you another quick example and kind of put it into practice. So if you, let's say you're making a sleeve and you have your sleeve pattern like this. You have that, you have your little angle here, up, and that. Okay. So this is your center, this is your elbow line, this is your wrist line here, and then this is your elbow dot, and my air conditioner is on, so hopefully you can hear me well. Let's erase all this, and let's assume you wanted to draw a seam line that was kind of at a diagonal. Let's draw one like this. This here, and this there. Okay, that gives us one seam line, which will kind of give us the makings of like a two-piece sleeve. But let's say you want to get ambitious. You want to create some other funky seam lines, so you do something like this. And then let's say you want to add some gathers here. And gathers. Okay, so these are supposed to be gathers. Now, as long as this is a straight line and you have this angle coming in like this, it won't matter that these two don't meet at right angles, because once again you have this 180 here, and then you have the seam that juts out like that. As long as they meet together at a flat line, it won't matter. It'll still be easy to sew. Now let's look at the two pieces separately. Okay, so if you have this pattern piece, it's like this, and whatever, and then this pattern piece, it's like this, and whatever. The easiest thing to do when you add your seam allowances, because you're going to have seam allowances, let's say, on this side, and obviously the seam allowance is going to go past here too. So we'll do like this. Then you have seam allowances on this side. And the same thing with this one. Seam allowance here, and also seam allowance there. In order to make this sew together the easiest that you can get at, if you take these angled seams and you fold the seam allowance back and you do what they call truing it, so you're basically going to fold it on this line here, on your seam line. So if you fold it there, you'll fold it back and you'll get a mirror image of whatever is on this side of that line. So we'll end up with something that looks like this, and then that. And then for this one, instead of the seam allowance looking like that, seam allowance will look like this. So then it makes it a lot easier when you're getting ready to sew them together, because then you don't have to find the seam line. The seam line will be right here. So if you meet this little corner with this little corner when you get ready to sew it, then they'll sew together perfectly and you won't have issues. And then you'll get this line that'll continue just like that, and it'll look like one whole piece, and it'll work out perfectly. So hopefully you guys understood that. Main objective of this was just to show you some really good examples of what happens if we have to join an angle that's not two 90-degree angles, because of course if you want to get into your really cool designs, all your angles are not going to be 90 degrees. So anyway, if you just remember that straight line and you just need to connect your two angles or two pieces together to equal a straight line, then it won't matter. Just like, for instance, I'll give you this last example and I'll let you go. Oops. So just like if you, even though we wouldn't necessarily do this, there might be certain situations where we might do this. So coming back to our bodice, let's say that's there, and we'll make our armhole come in a little bit more so that we get more of a sharp point here. Well, if you put them together, we'll make this a right angle. If you put this piece with the back piece, even though this is a sharp curve, if you continue this line, that would tell you what your back needed to look like. And then we'll assume, you know, that's the little bust dart. Or that's the back dart. That's the bust dart. So with this one, we still ended up with something that's like that and this. And so you see it doesn't meet quite at a right angle like normally we would rather it meet just like this. And then you'll have one there, one shoulder seam here and one shoulder seam there, and they're both 90-degree angles. This one, we got this little bitty angle here and we got this bigger angle there. As long as it still makes a straight line right here so you don't have a point, because this is what you're trying to avoid here. That's what you do not want. Okay, so this is okay, and that's okay. This is what you're trying to avoid with that. So that's why a lot of people will say, well, make sure your stuff is at 90-degree angles, and that's true to a point, but overall you want to make sure that you get a flush line, regardless of whether the two pieces end up at 90-degree angles. Okay, I hope that made sense. If you have any questions about anything I talked about, please leave me some comments down in the little comment section below the video. If you like the video, please click like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If this is on YouTube, if it's on Facebook, like my Facebook page. And I'll be doing more videos like this. And if you want to hear from me like on a daily basis, I have a little Q&A newsletter that I do. And I do it, right now I do it Monday through Friday. I may start doing it every day of the week in the future. But anyway, if you want it, there's a link in the description. And you can sign up for my newsletter. And you can hear from me every day and get lots of tips just like this. So talk to you later. Thank you.